Where are you watching this video from and what time is it? Let me know. The dawn unfolds slowly across the wild, not with gentle warmth, but with a chill that clings to the skin like damp cloth. The horizon glows faintly smeared with pale orange and violet streaks. A thin mist rises from the grasses, every blade tipped with cold dew, and the first sounds of waking life stir the air. The distant cough of a leopard, the low grumble of hippos far downriver, the wingbeat of a crane startled into flight. The earliest humans stir in their hollow of grass and stone bones, aching bodies curled together for warmth. Their eyes blink open to the morning wary, and searching for, waking is always a gamble between hunger and danger. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. They push themselves upright, stretching muscles stiff from the night. The earth beneath them is damp, leaving skins streaked with mud and dust. One child rubs at their eyes, yawning loudly, earning a sharp hiss from an elder who knows too much noise at dawn can bring trouble. Already the air carries the faint scent of predator, musky, sharp, heavy, like unseen eyes. The humans pause, listening, their hearts racing faster than the rising sun. The group moves slowly, gathering close pressing warmth from body to body. They are lean-sinewed from endless walking, their bellies flat with hunger. Each step forward is measured cautious. The grasses hiss against their legs as they move, a sound that blends with the background hum of cicadas. The dawn is beautiful, yes, but beauty here is always sharpened by the edge of danger. Fact, the earliest ancestors of modern humans likely lived in small groups of 20-30 individuals surviving by a mix of foraging and scavenging. They roamed open savannas and wooded areas of East Africa nearly 2 million years ago. Quirky tidbits, some researchers believe their alarm calls were not yet language but sharp whoops and growls. Imagine a family today trying to wake up for school by barking instead of using words. The band spreads carefully across a small rise. Adults move ahead, scanning the horizon. The air is cool enough to show faint puffs of breath. One youth bends, suddenly swiping a beetle from the ground and popping it into their mouth. The crunch makes another child laugh, the sound muffled quickly by a hand over their lips. Even here in the raw edge of survival humour bubbles up like fire flickering in damp wood, fragile yet persistent. The main action of the morning is not dramatic, it is simply the act of waking, orienting and ensuring no predator crouches nearby. Yet it feels monumental. To open one's eyes in such a world is to step into constant uncertainty. They crouch low, sniffing the air, tilting heads to catch vibrations. The first light glitters off the eyes of a hyena far away, and immediately the group presses closer together. Stones are gathered, sticks gripped, voices low and urgent. The hyena pauses, then trots away disinterested for now. Relief flows like warm water through the group. Parallel scenes unfold. The elders remain at the back, murmuring guttural reassurances, their faces carved with lines from years of hunger and survival. Children, despite warnings, tug at grasses, toss pebbles, mimic bird calls, their energy irrepressible. A mother leans down, guiding her child's hand to smear mud across their skin, not for fun, but to dull the human scent. It looks like play, but it is survival painted in earth tones. Joke 1, a boy smears too much mud across his face and sneezes violently, sending clumps flying into his neighbour's hair. The sudden snort of laughter breaks the tension, briefly making the dawn less heavy. Joke 2, a youth picks up a stick and struts like a chief, declaring nonsense sounds that make others grin behind serious faces. Joke 3, one elder pretends to snore loudly, even as they walk, a parody of their own exhaustion, earning chuckles from the children trailing behind. The day stretches ahead, full of unknown hunger and threats, but for now the humans are upright, breathing, moving. They pick a direction guided by instinct more than plan eyes, always seeking water, food and safety. The savannah opens around them, golden light spreading across grasslands, painting everything with a glow that feels deceptively soft. As the sun climbs higher, the urgency of the night eases slightly, but not entirely. Survival does not allow comfort, only pauses between trials. Yet even here in the fragile calm of morning, there is a sense of determination, thin but unbreakable. They walk forward together, a small band against the immensity of the wild. Their steps leave faint impressions in the damp soil prints that will vanish as the day grows hot. The earth remembers them only briefly, but in those steps lies the rhythm of existence, fragile, fleeting, yet persistent. The chill of the night air still clings to their skin long after the sun has risen. Though the light grows brighter, the memory of the dark, cold hours presses on their bones. Last night, as the wind hissed across the plain, the humans had curled tighter together, their bodies woven into a single knot of warmth. Even now, traces of that closeness remain, children draped against mothers, elders leaning against one another for support, the faint smell of mingled sweat, and earth still lingering in the air. Cold is not an enemy like the lion or the hyena, but it is just as cruel. The night strips heat from the body, shivering muscles into exhaustion, dulling the mind. The humans know this without words, for their instincts have taught them to survive, they must share their warmth. They remember the sting of nights endured alone when fingers went numb and breath grew thin, when the dark sky seemed endless and uncaring. Here in this age, before fire and fur-lined shelters, skin against skin is their only shield. The world at night is vast and merciless. Stars burn in thousands overhead, glittering bright and sharp, yet they offer no comfort against the chill. The moon glows pale, watching silently, casting long shadows that stretch like claws across the ground. The grasses whisper, constantly bending and straightening in the breeze, each sound a reminder of predators that might be moving unseen. Every rustle could be a jackal, every snap could be a lion. They sleep in fragments, moments of drifting half-consciousness, always ready to jolt awake at the slightest sound. Fact studies suggest early humans lacked the ability to store or make fire at will until nearly 1 million years after their emergence. That meant nights were survived purely by crowding together, using caves or hollows as barriers and relying on each other for warmth. Quirky tidbit modern experiments show that a circle of 10 people huddling can keep internal temperatures surprisingly high, like being wrapped in a living prehistoric sleeping bag. Not as cozy as a duvet, but efficient in its own wild way. As dawn pushes back the night, the band begins to stir. One child kicks restlessly in their sleep, accidentally striking a neighbour in the ribs. The grunt that follows is half annoyance, half amusement. A youth stretches their arms wide, letting out a roar-like yawn, only to be shushed instantly by an elder wary of attracting attention. Still the sound lingers, like a reminder that even in hardship the body craves release. Parallel scenes unfold across the group. Mothers brush dirt from their children's faces using damp grass as a cloth. Elders mutter softly, voices gravelly recalling other cold nights endured long ago, when companions were lost to frostbite or illness. A young hunter, restless, begins to mimic the shivering of last night, exaggerating until the children laugh. The group is not just surviving the cold, they're reshaping it into memory and story. Joke one child slaps their arms around themselves, teeth chattering dramatically, and wails, "I am frozen rock." The others howl with giggles, though they too remember the bitter chill. Joke 2. A hunter points to a fat goose waddling nearby and declares, "That bird has too many feathers, give me some." The children chase it a few steps before it flaps away, leaving them laughing and puffing in the early air. Joke 3. An elder rubbing stiff knees groans theatrically. "The cold has eaten my legs," then walks stiff as wood, sending youngsters into another round of laughter. The cold, harsh as it was, has passed, and with it comes relief. They survived another night without losing anyone to the deep silence. The sun climbs higher, drawing warmth back into their limbs, easing the ache from their joints. Yet they do not forget. The memory of shivering in the dark becomes another lesson, another thread binding them together. In this age, survival is not just about chasing food or escaping predators. It is about enduring what cannot be fought, the elements themselves. Cold teaches them unity, forces them into contact, makes them share what little they have. It is not comfort in the modern sense, but it is connection, human warmth against a world that is often merciless. As they begin their slow trek across the savannah, the traces of last night fade. Their breath no longer clouds the air. The wind no longer stings the skin. Yet beneath the sun they carry the memory of the cold as both burden and shield. They know it will return as relentless as hunger, as constant as the stars. But they also know something else together they can endure. The river glimmers ahead, a ribbon of silver snaking through the grasses. From a distance it looks gentle sunlight bouncing in bright shards across its surface, but for the humans it is both salvation and peril. Thirst drives them forward. Their mouths are dry tongues, heavy throats roar from breathing the dust of the savannah. Every step makes the urge stronger until the sight of water feels like a promise too good to be true. Yet instincts sharpen the closer they approach. Water may quench hunger, but it also gathers danger. The band slows. Adults move to the front, spreading out in a loose half circle. Their eyes scan the bank carefully. The grasses are flattened in places thick with hoofprints and claw marks. This is no quiet spring. This is a meeting place where predator and prey converge for the same prize. The silence is broken by the grunt of a hippo surfacing its massive bulk, rising like a living boulder from the river's skin. Children gape wide-eyed, clutching their mother's arms. To them the water is not just liquid, it is alive with hidden giants. The band crouches in the cover of reeds. They wait, watching, listening. Birds dart overhead, calling sharp cries. A crocodile drifts lazily just beneath the surface, only eyes and nostrils showing. The humans know this trick, though they cannot name it. Too many times they have seen animals vanish suddenly beneath the water, leaving only ripples followed by the unmistakable thrash of a kill. One elder makes a low hum, a warning, and the group shifts uneasily. Fact archaeological evidence suggests that Homo erectus and other early ancestors often lived near rivers not only for drinking water, but for access to fish and stranded animals. Yet riverbanks also held the highest risk of ambush from crocodiles, lions, or snakes. Quirky tidbits and modern crocodiles have been recorded dragging large prey underwater and then stashing it beneath logs to soften before eating. Imagine your dinner not in the fridge but hidden under a swampy log for a week. Bon appétit. The thirst grows unbearable. The group debates in their own raw way, gestures, grunts, pointing. Finally, a decision, two of the strongest men creep forward, long sticks in hand. They edge toward the shallows, stabbing the reeds to stir any hidden threat. Mud squelches underfoot, cold and sticky, gripping ankles like hands. A bird explodes upward, wings slapping water, and everyone freezes. Then stillness returns, save for the steady flow of the current. Parallel actions ripple across the group. Children sit crouched in the tall grass eyes, darting from the river to the adults. A mother hushes her baby with a handful of chewed leaves pressed to its lips. An elder whispers what might be a story voice, weaving memory of a cousin lost to the jaws of the river, half caution, half ritual remembrance. In their minds, the water is not just a source of life, but a spirit with moods and hungers of its own. Joke one child dips a hand into the mud, smears it across their cheeks, and declares themselves river spirits, sending other children into suppressed giggles. Joke 2, a young hunter sticks his stick upright like a spear, and proclaims in nonsense sounds that he is the defender of puddles. Elders roll their eyes, though the corner of one mouth twitches with amusement. Joke 3, when the hippo snorts again, spraying water, a boy mimics the sound so well that even the cautious adults chuckle. Finally, the men step into the shallows. They crouch cupping water, with their hands lifting it cautiously to their mouths. It is cold metallic tinged with silt, but glorious. They drink quickly, knowing they cannot linger. Others follow, slipping forward in cautious rhythm. Hands dip, scoop, sip. Relief spreads through the band, the burning in their throats eases, the pounding in their heads softens. Yet even this relief comes shadowed. A sudden ripple darts across the water and everyone freezes. A crocodile's tail flicks before vanishing. Panic rises, voices bark in alarm. The group stumbles backward, water spilling from their hands, feet splashing in frantic retreat. But the threat disappears as quickly as it appeared, leaving only the widening circles on the surface. Heartbeats hammer, breaths race. They are reminded again nothing here is safe, not even water. When the last sip is taken and the group has pulled back to the higher ground, they rest briefly, wet hands drying in the rising sun. The thirst has eased, but a new awareness weighs on them. The river has given and nearly taken in the same moment. The lesson will stay: water must be approached with respect, patience, and vigilance. As they move away, droplets trail from their fingers, soaking into the dry earth. Behind them, the river flows on, indifferent to their struggle, feeding predator and prey alike. Ahead lies hunger and heat, but for now they carry the memory of cool water on their tongues, a fleeting comfort against the endless wild. Roots lie hidden beneath the soil, unseen yet essential. The humans crouch in the grasses, fingers clawing at the earth, with nails cracked and dirty, seeking what little sustenance might be found below. The morning sun rises higher, burning away the coolness of dawn, and hunger gnaws at every belly. This is not the hunger of skipped meals. This is the dull, grinding ache that has become part of existence itself. Every day begins with the same urgency. find something, anything that can keep weakness at bay. They dig in silence, save for the occasional grunt or hiss of frustration. The soil is stubborn, packed tight from countless rains. Stones scrape against their fingers, drawing thin streaks of red. Still they continue. A child pries loose a clump and squeals, holding up a knotted root streaked with mud. Adults glance over, hopeful then skeptical. Experience has taught them that many roots deceive. Some are edible, some bitter enough to sicken others, poisonous enough to kill. The root is passed around, sniffed and licked, cautiously tested with wary tongues. Faces wrinkle at the sharp, acrid taste. A mother spits quickly, shaking her head. Yet one elder chews steadily, slow and deliberate, judging not flavour but survival. A nod follows grudging approval, not pleasant but safe. Relief ripples quietly through the group. Bitter is better than nothing. Fact archaeologists believe early humans often survived on underground storage organs like tubers roots and bulbs, nutrient-rich but often bitter or fibrous. Some of these may have required cooking to release full nutrition, but before fire mastery they were eaten raw despite the taste. Quirky tidbit, even today, wild yam species exist that are so bitter they can only be eaten after hours of soaking or pounding. Imagine biting into a raw aspirin tablet the size of a potato dinner is served. The digging intensifies. Fingers and simple sticks pry deeper. Children mimic adults, scratching with clumsy enthusiasm, sometimes pulling up nothing but worms. One child dangles a worm, wriggling, pretending it's a moustache, until another tries to snatch it away, erupting in squeals and laughter. Hunger makes the game short-lived. The worm vanishes down a throat before complaints can form. The group chuckles softly, the sound echoing oddly in the open air. Parallel scenes unfold. A youth works silently serious beyond their years, determined to fill arms with roots. An elder mutters low chants, perhaps gratitude, perhaps plea, every root lifted, as though pulled from the favour of unseen spirits. A mother soothes her infant with tiny fragments mashed between her teeth, feeding bitterness gently into a waiting mouth. Survival here is not about choice, it is about passing on a strength however possible. Joke 1, a boy holds up a particularly knotted root and declares with nonsense sounds that it is a monster chasing the smaller children until they squeal. Joke 2, an elder pretends to fall asleep chewing mouth open until the root drops into the dirt, causing youngsters to burst into laughter. Joke 3, one girl pretends to trade a root for a shiny pebble, puffing up proudly as if she made the bargain of a lifetime. Even in hunger, the humour persists as stubborn as the weeds in the soil. The first bites bring grimaces. Chewing is hard work, fibrous strands resisting every effort, bitterness coating tongues. They swallow anyway, grimly, the taste lodging in the back of their throats. Some gag, others grow quiet, focusing only on the act of swallowing. Yet after a time, the gnawing in their bellies eases slightly. Weakness recedes, replaced by a thin strength, fragile but precious. This bitter feast becomes a ritual of endurance. Each root dug and eaten is not just food. It is a defiance of emptiness. It is a promise that even in a world of scarcity, something can be found if one is willing to claw at the dirt long enough. Children watch the elders, closely learning which roots are chosen, which discarded. Knowledge passes wordlessly, etched into memory through taste and consequence. As the sun climbs higher, their small pile of roots dwindles. Bellies are not full, not truly satisfied, but the edge of hunger has been dulled. They will walk again, searching for more. But for this brief pause, crouched in the soil, chewing bitterness, they are reminded of something simple yet profound the earth will give if you are willing to dig deep enough. They rise, slowly wiping mud from their hands onto their thighs. Faces remain grim, but steadier eyes sharper, steps more certain. The taste lingers, unpleasant, stubborn, but so does the lesson. In this land, survival is rarely sweet. It is most often bitter, chewed, slowly swallowed with determination and carried forward as fuel for the endless journey. The grasses whisper like secrets, bending and swaying in waves as the wind brushes across them. The band moves slowly, every step deliberate, as though the earth itself might betray them. Hunger has been eased by bitter roots, thirst calmed by stolen sips of water, but now another threat shadows their path, predators. The savannah is never empty. Somewhere in the golden sea of grass eyes watch. Whether lion, leopard or hyena, they are always near, patient, waiting for a stumble, a moment of distraction, a weakness to exploit. The air feels charged heavy with the sense of presence. Adults stiffen, pausing to scan. One woman grips a sharpened stick, knuckles white. A youth crouches, placing ear to the ground, listening for the faint vibrations of movement. The children sense the change, falling unusually quiet, eyes wide as they cling closer to their elders. The silence of children is itself a warning instinct, tells even the youngest when danger prowls nearby. The tall grasses shift unnaturally to the left, rippling in a way that wind alone cannot explain. A low rumble rides the air so soft it could be mistaken for distant thunder, yet the sky is clear. The humans know better. Predators announce themselves in subtle ways, not to boast but to unsettle, to weaken resolve. The group tightens, bodies edging closer together, every sense straining. Fat lions, unlike most cats, often hunt cooperatively using the cover of grass and the element of surprise. Evidence suggests that early humans were both hunters and frequent prey, and vigilance was a matter of life and death. Quirky tidbits, some modern lions have been recorded lying completely flat in the grass for hours, their only movement the occasional flick of a tail. Imagine playing hide-and-seek where the seeker never gets tired and you are always the prize. The tension stretches. A child sneezes suddenly, the sharp sound cracking the silence. Heads whip around in alarm, hearts pounding. For a moment nothing happens, then the grasses shift again, and a pair of amber eyes catch the sunlight gleaming just above the stalks. A lioness. Her gaze is steady, unblinking, weighing the band carefully. Panic threatens, but the humans do not scatter. They know instinctively that to run is to invite pursuit. Instead, they make themselves large voices rising in guttural cries, arms waving sticks high. The lioness hesitates, crouching lower, calculating. Behind her, a faint shape moves, a second lion circling wider. The danger is not one, but many. Parallel scenes ripple through the group. Elders stand at the back, muttering low chants meant to strengthen courage. Children cling tighter, some burying their faces in their mother's legs, others peeking through fingers, curiosity battling fear. A youth, trying to mask terror, mimics a roar, the sound thin but defiant. Even in terror, they try to meet threat with humour. Joke one after the youth's attempt at roaring, a child blurts, "You sound like a sick bird," sending nervous laughter, bubbling even as fear tightens chests. Joke two, one elder smacks their stick on the ground so hard it bounces back and smacks their shin. They wince, then scowl, but the children stifle giggles. Joke three, another youth points to the lioness's flicking tail and whispers, "She's wagging like a dog," sparking quick grins before silence returns. The standoff continues. The humans shout, waves stamp the ground. Their courage grows in rhythm voices overlapping, forming a wall of noise. The lioness flicks her ears, tail lashing. She steps forward, muscles rippling beneath golden fur. The second lion circles closer. For a breathless instant, the outcome hangs in balance, two predators against a band armed only with sticks and stones. But then a shift. The lioness exhales sharply, a sound halfway between growl and sigh, before slinking back into the grasses. The second follows, reluctant, disappearing with only a twitch of tail visible, before vanishing completely. The grasses swallow them whole, and silence returns, broken only by the harsh panting of the humans. Relief does not come immediately. The group remains huddled, eyes darting, waiting for another flicker of movement. Only after long moments do they loosen shoulders, dropping slightly, breath slowing. They survive the gaze of predators not by strength but by unity, by refusing to yield to fear. As they resume their march, tension lingers. Every rustle of grass makes them flinch, every shadow stretches too long. Yet they have gained something too, another memory, another proof that together they can stand even when watched by the hungriest of eyes. The grasses close behind them, swallowing their trail. Somewhere predators follow, still patient as the sun. But for now, each step forward is a quiet victory, a reminder that survival is not absence of danger, but endurance within it. The land stretches wide and dry, but hidden within its folds are small treasures that catch the eye of the hungry. As the humans press forward, the heat rises, shimmering waves bending the air, but here and there a flash of colour interrupts the monotony. Berries. Small clustered jewels glowing red against thorny bushes. To the children they look like miracles. Their hands reach eagerly, little fingers stretching, eyes bright with the thought of sweetness on their tongues. The adults, however, pause. Experience has carved caution deep into them. Not all berries are gifts. Some are bitter, some harmless, some deadly. A single bite can mean a night of agony or worse, an ending before the next dawn. They huddle close, whispering low, debating through gestures, sniffing, and the faint taste of cautious licks. The scent is sharp, almost sour, not immediately inviting. Yet hunger blurs the line between danger and necessity. One elder steps forward, gathering a handful. He squishes a berry between his fingers, juice staining the skin like blood. He lifts it to his nose, inhales, then touches it to his tongue. He does not swallow, only tests the taste. The others watch with an intensity reserved for moments of trial. His expression twists, but after spitting the pulp he shrugs and nods. The verdict is not pleasant, but not deadly either. Fact early humans likely relied on keen observation of animals to identify edible plants. They might have watched which berries birds ate safely or which fruits primates avoided. Over time, this knowledge passed from generation to generation, a map of survival etched in memory rather than parchment. Quirky tidbit, some modern chimpanzees are known to deliberately eat bitter plants with no nutritional value, using them as medicine to fight parasites. Imagine watching your friend munch dandelions and saying, "Trust me, it's for my stomach." The group begins cautiously plucking berries, each bite tentative. The flavour bursts sharp and sour, making faces pucker. Children grimace tongues, poking out dramatically as if betrayed. Yet they swallow hunger louder than distaste. Slowly laughter spreads among them. They challenge each other to eat more, faces contorting in exaggerated expressions of suffering. Parallel scenes unfold around the bush. A mother carefully smears juice across her baby's lips, watching for any reaction. A youth decides to test bravery by popping a whole handful into his mouth at once, eyes watering instantly, but he refuses to spit, puffing out his cheeks like a stubborn toad. Elders pluck with steady rhythm, chewing without complaint, seasoned by years of knowing survival rarely tastes sweet. Joke 1, a child holds up a berry-stained hand and claims he is bleeding to death, collapsing dramatically into the grass until his siblings kick him playfully. Joke 2, another child smears berry juice across her face, grinning like a painted warrior, until an elder scolds and the group bursts into laughter. Joke 3, one youth pretends the bush is fighting back, grabbing his arm and howling, as if trapped, making the others howl with delight. After the first shock of sourness fades, the berries begin to feel almost refreshing. Juices cool their dry throats, easing the dust. Stomachs do not fill, but they are soothed for a while. The group plucks greedily, now the bush thinning as hands sweep across it. Some berries fall to the ground, and children scramble to snatch them before insects claim the prize. Yet even as they feast, awareness lingers. Too many berries too quickly could still bring sickness. Moderation is as much survival as discovery. The group pulls away, eventually leaving the bush ragged but alive, a memory etched into their wandering map of the land. Here lies food if you dare. As the sun climbs higher, berry stains mark their mouths and hands, little smears of red that could almost be mistaken for battle paint. They lick fingers clean, swallow the last sharp taste, and move forward with a little more strength than before. For a brief moment their journey feels less desperate, the sour burst a reminder that, even in harshest wilds, colour and flavour can still surprise the weary traveller. The bush stands alone as they leave a small battered survivor in the open plain, and behind them laughter lingers, carried faintly on the hot wind, laughter born of sour faces, bitter jokes, and the stubborn joy of finding sustenance where none seemed possible. The sun dips lower, stretching the shadows of the band long across the grass. Evening draws near, and with it the need for shelter. The humans slow their steps, scanning the land not only for food, but for a place to rest their weary bodies. Night on the savannah is a different world, filled with sounds that unnerve and eyes that glitter in the dark. To survive, they must find a refuge where they can huddle close guard one another, and let sleep take them without fear of sudden teeth. The ground here is uneven, dotted with boulders and scattered trees. Among them hollows hide, carved by water long gone. The humans know these places well. Some are safe, shallow depressions offering cover from wind. Others are dangerous already, claimed by snakes or leopards. Every hollow must be tested before they dare enter. The strongest men probe with sticks, poking into shadowed spaces. Dust rises, and once a startled hare bolts out, making children squeal and laugh nervously. But no predators emerge, and the hollow is deemed safe. They gather inside, pressing backs against cool stone, the earth rising like a wall behind them. From here they can see outward, watch the grasses, and listen for danger. The hollow is not a home, not permanent, but for tonight it is sanctuary. Fact, early humans rarely built lasting shelters before fire and tools. Instead, they sought out natural features, caves, overhangs, or hollows to shield them. Archaeological evidence shows that many early sites of habitation were simple windbreaks of rock and vegetation with little to mark them but bones and discarded tools. Quirky tidbit: modern experiments show that even simple arrangements of branches and hides can reduce wind chill by half, proving that comfort often comes from the smallest adjustments. Imagine dragging a whole tree branch just to invent the prehistoric version of a blanket fort. The band begins their routine. Some gather loose branches and thorny brush, dragging them toward the entrance of the hollow. They stack them haphazardly, a crude barrier against prowling animals. It will not stop a lion determined to push through, but it may deter a curious hyena or at least slow a sudden rush. Others smooth the dirt floor, scattering small stones, making space for the children to curl up. Parallel actions ripple through the group. A youth climbs a boulder to survey the horizon, playing at watchman, though his eyes keep drifting to the deepening sky. Mothers settle infants in the safest corners, covering them with scraps of hide or leafy bundles. Elders sit near the entrance, sticks in hand, murmuring to each other in tones both weary and resolute. The hollow becomes alive with quiet industry, every gesture bent toward survival. Joke 1: a boy insists he hears a bear inside the hollow, though bears never roamed this savannah. He growls comically until others laugh, shushing him before he attracts real trouble. Joke 2: a girl climbs into the brush pile and declares herself Queen of Thorns, laughing until she gets pricked and yelps, sending everyone into muffled chuckles. Joke 3: an elder pretends to nod off mid-sentence, snoring loudly, then jolts awake as though bitten children collapse into giggles. When the work is done, they huddle close together. The hollow grows warmer with shared breath and pressed bodies. Outside, the ski-darkened stars flickering into being one by one. Night sounds begin: an owl's low call, distant whoops of hyenas, the eerie cough of a leopard somewhere far beyond the grass. The humans listen, alert but calm within their circle. The thorny barricade rattles lightly in the breeze, a fragile but comforting reminder that they have done what they can. Children whisper before sleep, trading tales of monsters lurking beyond the stars. Adults exchange glances, half amused, half unsettled, for the children's imaginings are not so far from truth. Yet they let the whispers continue, for fear is a teacher, just as shelter is a teacher. As fatigue spreads one by one, heads droop against shoulders. The hollow becomes quiet, save for the low breathing of the group. Eyes remain half open at the edge, elders staring into the dark, unwilling to surrender fully. Sleep for them is never peace. It is an agreement with the night they will rest, but they will remain ready. Above constellations burn steadily patterns unmarked by names yet, but already woven into memory. The hollow cradles its fragile guests, holding them through the long dark, while outside the wild waits patiently for morning. The first cry comes before dawn, a thin whimper from the smallest child, then another voice joins, sharper, urgent. The night has been long, filled with growls and distant laughter of hyenas, but hunger stirs them awake even before the sky brightens. The hollow smells of sweat and earth, pressed too close for too long. Slowly the group stirs. Adults rise stiffly, stretching limbs, rubbing sore backs from the hard ground. Infants squirm and fuss, mouths seeking what little milk their mothers can still provide. The band knows they cannot move far on empty stomachs. Before the sun rises fully, they search the ground around their shelter, eyes trained for anything that might quiet the gnawing in their bellies. Insects scuttle when stones are overturned, and children squeal with delight at the sight of fat beetles' shiny black shells glinting in the pale light. For them, this is food worth celebrating. Hands dart quick and precise. Beetles' grubs and termites are pried loose and cupped carefully, squirming in warm palms. The children laugh as the insects tickle, though their play quickly turns to hunger. Adults show them how to bite swiftly, crushing shells, swallowing before legs and wings can wriggle free. It is not delicacy, it is survival. Fact, entomophagy, eating insects, was likely a vital part of early human diets. Rich in protein and fat insects offered dense nutrition when larger prey was scarce. Quirky tidbit: modern studies show that some termites are so rich in calories that just a handful can equal the energy of a small loaf of bread. Imagine trading your sandwich for a fistful of wriggling bugs. It's less packed lunch, more packed legs. Parallel actions play out across the hollow. A child munches on termites, face twisted in exaggerated disgust, then bursts into laughter when another child dares them to eat more. A youth proudly dangles a writhing beetle before his sibling, then pretends it has bitten him, yelping dramatically until the others collapse in giggles. Elders eat quietly, chewing steadily, eyes on the horizon, their stoic calm balancing the children's antics. Joke 1. A child declares that his beetle has a name and refuses to eat it until an elder plucks it from his hand and swallows it whole. The child gasps in mock outrage, making the group laugh. Joke 2. One youth places 2 beetles on the ground and urges them to race, chanting encouragement, until one beetle scurries toward the brush and the other is quickly eaten. Joke 3. A mother pretends her termite is growling ferociously, shaking her hand as if it might leap and attack, sending her children into delighted squeals. The morning feast is meagre but effective. The crunch of shells, the burst of soft bodies, the faint oily taste fills mouths. It is not satisfying in the way of meat or fruit, but the hunger eases bellies, settling slightly. The group grows more alert, their bodies fuel their steps, soon stronger. After eating, they smear hands on the ground to clean away the sticky residue. The insects leave faint trails of taste on tongues, bitter but bearable. Children poke at the emptied termite mound, watching stragglers scuttle deeper into tunnels. Already they understand what seems small can still mean survival. The band prepares to move again. Mothers tie infants close with strips of hide. Elders grip their sticks. Youths practice small mock hunts, pretending to spear invisible prey. Laughter mixing with determination. The hollow that served as refuge now looks abandoned, scattered with footprints, crushed shells, and faint stains of berry juice from the night before. It is a reminder that shelter is never permanent, only borrowed from the land for a night. As they leave, the morning light spreads golden across the savannah. Bellies still rumble faintly, but the sharp edge of hunger has dulled. The insects have given them just enough strength to continue. They step forward into the open plain, knowing the day will bring new challenges, new hungers, new dangers. Yet for now they carry the memory of crunch and laughter, of nourishment found in the smallest corners of the earth. The wild offers little, but it offers enough if you're willing to look closely, dig carefully, and swallow bravely. The day brightens quickly, the sun rising like a hammer of heat. Already the air wavers, the grass is shimmering as though set aflame. The band presses on, eyes squinting against the glare, but soon the horizon bends differently. Out beyond the savannah's flat sprawl a darker mass rises. At first it looks like a cloud resting on the ground, but as they draw nearer the shapes sharpen. Trees. A cluster dense and tall, breaking the monotony of endless grass. The forest edge hums with sound. Birds call in sharp bursts, insects drone, and unseen creatures rustle leaves. To the humans, the trees are both promise and mystery. They have wandered open plains exposed beneath the sky, but here the earth shifts into shade and shadow. Shelter waits fruit, perhaps maybe prey, small enough to catch. But forests also hide predators more easily than plains. Each tree might cloak teeth and claws. The group pauses at the boundary, hesitating. Children are the first to step forward, drawn by curiosity. They peer into the dim spaces between trunks, whispering, pointing at vines twisting down like snakes. Adults move more cautiously, prodding the ground, with sticks sniffing the air for signs of danger. The forest smells rich, damp, layered with the scent of decay and growth. It is overwhelming, strange, compared to the dry clarity of the savannah. Fact, during the Pleistocene, many early human bands navigated mixed environments, savannah by day, forest edges by necessity. Forests provided resources unavailable elsewhere, edible fruits, nuts, honey, and small game. Quirky tidbit, some anthropologists suggest that honey may have been one of the most calorie-rich, desirable foods for early humans. Imagine risking stings from wild bees just to score a prehistoric candy bar. As they enter, the world changes. Light filters green through the canopy, dappled shadows painting their bodies. The air cools slightly, though humidity clings to their skin. Children marvel at roots thicker than their torsos twisting like frozen serpents across the ground. A youth slaps the hollow trunk of a tree, listening to the echo, grinning as if the tree has spoken back. Elders frown at the noise, but cannot hide the small spark of amusement. Parallel actions ripple through the group. A mother gathers broad leaves, testing their strength, perhaps thinking of wrapping food or carrying water. A youth scrambles onto a low branch, triumphant, until it creaks ominously, sending him scrambling back down, face flushed with embarrassment. Elders touch bark reverently, muttering, perhaps remembering stories that trees hold spirits within their silent hearts. Joke 1. A child wraps vines around her arms, flexing like a mighty warrior, until she trips and tumbles into the dirt. Laughter echoes softly through the trees. Joke 2. Another boy insists the hollow log nearby is a sleeping monster, poking it nervously until a family of lizards darts out, scattering in every direction. The children shriek in delight. Joke 3. One elder squints at a knot in a tree trunk and claims it looks like his brother's face, sending the youths into uncontrollable giggles. The band spreads carefully, testing the forest's gifts. They find small clusters of fruit tart but edible, and chew with relief. They dig under damp leaves, uncovering fat grubs wriggling with pale bodies. Children squeal, half fascinated, half disgusted, until hunger outweighs hesitation. Even mushrooms appear, though the adults are cautious, tasting only the familiar shapes passed down through memory. Every mouthful is a gamble, yet each successful bite brings renewed strength. Still, danger never vanishes. The rustle of something heavy moves through the undergrowth, distant yet deliberate. The band freezes ears, straining. A monkey's chatter bursts from above, shrill and mocking, as if warning the intruders of unseen threats. Eyes scan, hearts pound, but no predator appears. The sound fades, leaving only the layered hum of the forest alive around them. They continue deeper, weaving between trunks, cautious but compelled. The forest is no permanent refuge, but for this moment it is bounty. Shade shields them, food fills them, and the constant tension of open savanna lessens slightly. They will not stay long, for they belong to no place, yet the memory of these trees will remain etched in their minds as another mark on the endless map of survival. By the time they step out of shadow, back into the glaring sun, their arms carry a few handfuls of fruit, and leaves their bellies a little fuller. The forest recedes behind them, still whispering with secrets they have not uncovered. Ahead lies more grass, more hunger, more danger, but also the knowledge that shade and sustenance can be found where trees rise against the sky. Heat presses harder. As the band steps away from the trees, the savanna once more a vast, shimmering sea of gold. Their mouths are sticky with the tart fruits eaten inside the forest, but thirst soon rises sharper than hunger. The sun climbs merciless and bright, and every breath feels like swallowing fire. Dust clings to tongues, lips crack, and even the children grow quiet, weighed down by the dryness. Water. The need for it burns through every thought. Without it, even the strongest legs will falter. The group has learned to read the land like a shifting book. They scan for clues, green patches of grass more vivid than the rest trails carved by animals, converging toward unseen points and faint dips in the earth where rain might have once pooled. A youth points excited to a line of tracks pressed deep into the soil. Antelope, maybe zebra. The marks run toward the horizon, neat and sure. Animals rarely wander without reason. Where their hooves lead, water often waits. The band adjusts course, following the silent guides. Their pace quickens, despite fatigue, hope lighting their steps. Fact, early humans were skilled trackers, reading signs in soil grass, and even the tilt of a broken twig to follow both prey and resources. Archaeologists have found evidence of these skills in southern Africa, where hunter-gatherers could distinguish dozens of animal tracks with precision. Quirky tidbits and modern sand trackers are so skilled they can tell if a zebra passed by before or after sunrise, simply from the crispness of the print. Imagine explaining to someone that you're basically a prehistoric GPS, only with better accuracy than their phone. The sun blazes above, but then change. The ground dips slightly and reeds appear tall and swaying. The smell shifts cooler, tinged with mud. Soon the glimmer of water breaks through a shallow pool ringed with trampled grass. Relief surges like thunder through the band, yet joy is tempered with caution. Waterholes are magnets for life and death. Where prey gathers, predators wait. The band halts at the edge, scanning. Their eyes catch fresh paw prints pressed deep near the mud, larger than any human foot. Lion. Perhaps gone, perhaps hidden. The air thrums with tension. Mothers clutch children, close youths grip sticks tighter. Elders scan the horizon. Still thirst gnaws. They cannot turn away. One man steps forward slowly, stick in hand, and crouches at the pool. He dips a hand, scooping water to his lips. Mud clouds the liquid, gritty against his teeth, but it is cool, wet, alive. The others crowd close, filling cupped palms, slurping eagerly. Children laugh, splashing faces, though mothers hush them quickly, Fear still close. Parallel moments ripple. A youth wades too far, sinking knee-deep in mud, struggling until another pulls him free, both collapsing in laughter. A child tries to drink with her whole face dunking nose first, sputtering and sneezing water back out. An elder kneels quietly, closing his eyes, savouring each swallow, as if it is the sweetest gift the earth has ever given. Joke One boy pretends to fish, dangling a stick into the water, declaring he's caught a monster fish when only a frog hops out. Joke 2, a child splashes her sibling, then shrieks when splashed back, sending water flying, until an elder's glare halts the game. Joke 3, a youth cups water and pretends it is a fine drink, served in a royal hall, sipping with exaggerated elegance until the others chuckle. After the frenzy calm settles, they smear mud across their skin, cooling their bodies against the sun's assault. Some even smear their faces with dark streaks, laughing like painted warriors. The pool is not endless, but for now it saves them. The band lingers only long enough to drink their fill, for danger never sleeps at waterholes. They back away slowly, eyes scanning for shifting grass or hidden movement. The reeds rustle. A bird takes flight, but no lion shows. Still caution drives them onward. They leave the pool behind, bellies sloshing with muddy water, strength renewed, fear still humming beneath their ribs. As they walk, the shimmering horizon stretches once more. Yet in their veins now flows the life of the savannah itself, drawn from mud and reed, from a pool that has kept countless creatures alive. And though tomorrow thirst will rise again, for this moment, survival tastes like cool water and laughter under the burning sun. The sun edges past its highest point, and shadows shorten to nearly nothing. The ground shimmers a wavering mirage that tricks the eye into imagining more pools where none exist. Though the band has quenched its thirst, fatigue now presses heavier. Muscles ache, legs drag, and hunger gnaws again, cruel in its persistence. Food must be found, and not just berries or insects this time. The band needs something more substantial, something that lingers in the belly. It is then that sharp eyes spot a trail in the dust, not wide like antelope hooves or zebra tracks, but narrow, a neat line pressed in soft earth. A hare, perhaps, or another small creature light enough to dart through grasses unseen. The humans freeze, then crouch, fingers brushing the tracks. They are fresh, the edges still crisp, not yet softened by wind. The hunt is possible. Excitement stirs through the group, though it is laced with nervous energy. They have no bows, no traps of sophistication, only sticks hardened in fireless heat stones sharp enough to cut. Still small prey can be taken if pursued with patience. The children are hushed, the laughter of waterholes silenced now into focus. The hunters a handful of the strongest peel away from the group, trailing the faint prints into the grass. The others remain behind, huddled together, their role now to wait and to hope. Fact persistence, hunting, chasing prey until exhaustion was one of the earliest human hunting strategies. Though humans lacked speed, they had endurance, able to run long distances in heat that would overwhelm many animals. Quirky tidbit modern experiments show that with steady pacing, a fit human can outrun a horse over extreme distances. Imagine the prehistoric bragging rights, I can't sprint like a cheetah, but give me 4 hours and that antelope is toast. The hunters fan out eyes, scanning ears, straining. Grass parts ahead with the flicker of movement, a hare bursts free, bounding desperately. A cry rises sharp and urgent, and the chase begins. Legs pump, arms swing, hearts hammer. The creature is quick, zigzagging through grass, but the hunters are relentless. They do not give up after the first burst nor the second. They drive it forward again and again, pushing, pressing, wearing it down. Parallel scenes unfold. One hunter stumbles, nearly tripping over a root, but pushes forward with grit. Another raises a stone mid-stride, hurling it with precision, though it glances off the ground just behind the animal. The hare darts left, then right, each time losing a little more strength. The hunters' breaths come heavy, sweat pouring, but their rhythm holds steady. Joke One hunter mutters between gasps that the hare is laughing at them, making the others wheeze with tired chuckles even as they run. Joke 2, a youth yells that he's faster than the wind, only to trip into a bush and emerge, scratched, his claim thoroughly disproven. Joke 3, another, swings his stick dramatically, missing entirely, then declares he was warning the hare rather than striking provoking laughter despite exhaustion. At last the animal falters. Its leaps grow shorter, its path clumsy. The humans press harder, voices rising in guttural cries. One finally lunges stone-raised and strikes. The blow lands sharp and final. Silence falls broken only by panting breaths. The hunters stand sweat-soaked and trembling yet triumphant. They lift the small lifeless body high, signalling across the plain. The waiting group erupts into shouts of relief. The return is slow, but spirits are high. Children run ahead, eyes wide, marvelling at the prize. Mothers smile despite hunger already envisioning dividing the meagre meat. Elders nod with satisfaction, the hunter reminder of human resilience. The hare is not large, not enough to sate them all fully, but it is victory. It is proof that patience and persistence can wrestle life from the wild. As the group settles, preparations begin. Without fire they cannot roast. Instead, the animal is carefully skinned with sharp stones, flesh divided into strips. Each piece is chewed, raw muscles working hard to tear sinew and fibre. The taste is metallic, strong, but hunger makes it feast. Children chew with exaggerated faces, pretending the meat bites back laughter, bubbling even as juice stains their chins. When the last scraps are gone, the bones are cracked for marrow sucked dry with eager lips. Nothing is wasted. The carcass is left picked clean, a bare offering back to the earth. Bellies are fuller, not overflowing, but steady enough to face the next stretch of land. And as the sun lowers slightly, shadows returning at last, the band carries on. Behind them lies the mark of their persistence, a trail of dust, a fallen creature, and the memory of triumph carved into the long story of survival. The band walks with a little more spring in their steps, bellies not full but steadier than before. The memory of the chase lingers, retold by children who exaggerate every detail, claiming the hare was the size of a lion, or that one hunter flew through the air like a bird to land the final strike. The adults chuckle softly, too weary to argue, but they let the stories grow, because stories themselves are food of another kind. The land shifts again, the grass is shorter, the soil harder beneath their calloused feet. The wind picks up, carrying not only dust, but the faint scent of something unfamiliar, sharp, musky, alive. Then faintly a sound. A bray low and strange, followed by the shuffle of many hooves. The band halts as one head's turning. Out on the horizon, shapes stir. Not predators, not prey in the usual sense, but something in between. Donkeys, or rather their wild ancestors, equids that roam in herds across the open land. For the humans, the sight is astonishing. These animals are larger than the hare, larger than antelope, stronger and faster than anything they might hope to bring down with sticks and stones. Yet their numbers captivate. Dozens, maybe more, moving together in a coordinated mass. Children gape, tugging at their mother's arms, whispering in awe. The hunters exchange glances. There will be no chase today, not for creatures like these. Yet still the herd offers something more subtle guidance. Animals know where to find water, where to graze. By following at a distance, the humans may uncover routes and resources otherwise hidden. Fact. The earliest interactions between humans and herd animals were not yet about domestication, but observation. By shadowing herds, people discovered safe paths, seasonal migrations, and even hints of approaching weather. Quirky tidbit evidence suggests that wild asses in North Africa were so tough and enduring that when humans finally did domesticate their kin, they became the backbone of trade routes hauling goods across deserts. It's fair to say the donkey was the first prehistoric delivery truck. The band edges closer but not too close. The herd snorts and shifts, wary. A stallion stamps its hooves, head tossing warning against intrusion. The humans keep their distance, trailing along the herd's path, grateful for the unintentional guidance. Parallel moments unfold. A youth mimics the braying sound, only to be shushed urgently when the herd startles tails, flicking nervously. A child insists she could ride one, clambering onto a sibling's back to demonstrate, until both topple laughing into the dirt. An elder shakes his head at the antics, but cannot resist a small smile, eyes lingering on the powerful animals with quiet respect. Joke one boy declares that the donkeys are giant dogs and tries to whistle them closer, only to be ignored completely, leaving him sulking to everyone's amusement. Joke 2. A youth struts with a stick between his legs, pretending to gallop like a proud stallion, whinnying until his voice cracks sparking giggles. Joke 3. An elder mutters that if anyone actually manages to sit on one, he'll carry them on his shoulders for the rest of the day. Children immediately try to chase after the herd before being dragged back howling with laughter. As they follow, they notice the herd leads toward greener patches, where tufts of grass grow thick and damp. Soon the sound of trickling water reaches their ears, a stream narrow but steady winding across the plain. The herd lowers heads to drink, and cautiously after scanning for predators the humans do the same. Cool fresh water, less muddied than the pool, before Sooth's throats roar from dust. The moment feels like a gift. Not from gods, not from chance alone, but from the partnership, silent and one-sided, that humans begin to form with animals of the wild. They cannot yet tame them, but already animals guide their survival. When the herd moves on, the band lingers by the stream watching the dust rise from dozens of hooves pounding into the distance. A few children wave as if saying farewell to friends. Adults remain quiet, thoughtful, perhaps sensing that someday generations ahead the bond between human and animal will deepen into something unimagined. For now, the stream runs cool between their fingers. They drink, they laugh, they splash their faces. And when they finally move on, they carry not only water in their bellies, but a memory of walking briefly beside giants, guided by hooves toward life itself. The stream fades behind them, swallowed by the land, and the band marches on into a world where the horizon shimmers with heat and silence. The savannah seems endless, the sky so wide it presses down on their shoulders. For hours, the only sounds are the scuff of feet, the soft whimper of a child, the rustle of dry grasses bowing in the wind. Then the silence breaks, not with hooves or brays or the call of birds, but with something smaller, sharper, a buzz. It begins faint, then rises a chorus of wings humming in the air. Flies circle, fat and insistent. The smell reaches them next, faint at first, then overwhelming. Rot. A child points ahead, nose wrinkled. The band approaches warily. There collapsed in the grass lies the carcass of a zebra, its stripes dulled by death, its body bloated under the sun. The hide glistens with sweat, and insects a dark cloud buzzing with hunger. For the humans, the sight sparks conflict inside their bellies, revulsion, but also opportunity. Meat. Already dead, already waiting. To turn away means leaving behind what could be survival. To approach means facing dangers, disease-hidden predators, the sharp teeth of scavengers, who might already claim it. Fact, early humans were often scavengers before they became dominant hunters. They cracked bones left by larger predators, scavenged carcasses and consumed marrow that even lions ignored. Quirky tidbit archaeologists once found bones with cut marks over lion tooth marks, proving humans sometimes arrived second, the original ancient freeloaders. One might imagine an early human shrugging, "Hey, if the lion didn't finish it, why let it go to waste?" The band debates without words, shifting from foot to foot. Hunger sharpens every thought. Finally, courage rises. They creep forward, sticks clutched eyes, scanning the grass for golden eyes, twitching tails. The zebra is alone. Hyenas have not yet come, nor vultures in great number. The band circles it, wariness clashing with desperation. Parallel moments ripple. One youth pinches his nose dramatically, making children giggle despite the stench. Another pokes the carcass with a stick, jerking back when flies explode upward in a black cloud. An elder crouches close, steady, peeling back hide with a sharpened stone, his hands sure though his stomach twists at the smell. Joke 1, a child declares the zebra must be sleeping, then jumps back when a beetle crawls from its ear. Joke 2, a youth swats at flies with exaggerated fury, declaring war on every buzzing insect, only to trip on his own swinging arms. Joke 3, someone mutters that the zebra smells better than uncle after a run, and laughter breaks quick and guilty. At last, the first strips of meat are cut away raw and dark. The band chews reluctantly, at first noses wrinkled, but hunger triumphs. The taste is sour, strong, tinged with rot, yet it fills their mouths and bellies. Children make faces, but they swallow, knowing each bite means strength for the road. The bones yield more promise. Stones crack them open with sharp blows, marrow sucked eagerly, rich and greasy. The elders insist on scraping every bit, leaving nothing behind. Flies swarm thick, crawling on faces, hands, mouths. The humans swat and curse softly, but they persist. When at last they step back, the carcass is reduced, hide-torn bones, cracked meat stripped. They leave behind only what cannot be used. Already circling in the sky, vultures gather waiting for their turn. The band wipes greasy hands on the grass bellies heavy with uneasy fullness. As they move away, they glance back often. The zebra's body is already alive again, alive with wings and claws and beaks tearing at what remains. The humans shiver, both grateful and unsettled. Survival has its price, and today that price was swallowing decay. Yet as the band presses forward, strength returns to their stride. For all the disgust, for all the buzzing flies and sour taste, the carcass has given them what they need, energy to keep walking. And in this land, that alone is victory. The savannah begins to change as evening shadows lengthen. Heat loosens its grip and a cooler wind brushes over the grasses, carrying scents both sweet and unsettling. Crickets start their chorus early, filling the silence with a pulsing rhythm. For the band, it is a welcome sign the worst of the day's sun has passed. Yet dusk also means danger. Night is when the hidden eyes emerge, when the hunters of the dark begin to stir. The group slows their pace, searching for a place to rest. The land offers little shelter, no caves, no thick forest walls, only clumps of acacia trees standing solitary against the sky. Their branches twist like skeletal arms, sparse but thorny, and around them lies a patch of ground less exposed. The band gathers close, huddling in the lee of the thorn trees, making this their camp for the night. Children are herded inward, mothers clutching them close. Hunters place sharpened sticks in a circle, crude but symbolic lines drawn between safety and the wild. Everyone feels the shift. The day belonged to movement, but night belongs to survival in place. Fact before fire, early humans relied heavily on natural shelters and group vigilance to ward off predators. They often chose thorn thickets, rocky outcrops, or shallow pits to sleep in. Quirky tidbits, some anthropologists believe laughter itself may have served as a bonding signal at night, reassuring others in the group that watchfulness was shared. Imagine a prehistoric version of whispering jokes at a sleepover, except instead of worrying about parents, you're hoping lions don't show up. They settle onto the ground, bodies pressed, close warmth shared in a knot of humanity. Children whisper questions. Will lions come? Will the hyenas laugh at them? The adults hush them gently, though the same fears churn in every heart. The darkness grows heavier. The horizon glows faint with sunset, then fades into indigo. Above, stars prick the sky sharp and countless, spreading across the dome of night. Parallel moments emerge. One youth points out constellations, tracing shapes with his finger, turning stars into animals and stories, weaving wonder into fear. Another child, too tired to be afraid, falls asleep, instantly mouth open, drooling onto a sibling's arm, who pushes them off in disgust. An elder leans against a tree, eyes open, pretending to be watchful, but clearly drifting into snores that everyone hears. Joke one, a boy, insists that if he snorts loud enough it will scare lions away, then demonstrates until the others laugh so hard they beg him to stop. Joke 2, one youth whispers a ghost story about giant monkeys that steal children at night, only to yelp in fright when an owl hoots nearby. Joke 3, a child claims he can see a lion's face in the stars, then proudly says it looks scared of them, sending ripples of nervous giggles. Yet for all the play, the tension never fades. Every snap of a twig, every rustle in the grass tightens their muscles. Shadows shift in the tall grass. Hyenas laugh in the distance, their calls echoing like eerie music across the plain. The band squeezes closer together, sticks, clenched eyes, wide ears straining. Then the sound, low, resonant, terrifying. A lion's roar rolls across the land, deep enough to rattle chests, long enough to make silence heavier after it fades. Children freeze some whimpering. Adults stare outward into the dark, unable to see what stalks them, but certain it is near. Hearts pound in unison. The band does not move. They stay tighter, living not silent, but for breaths. Their only defense is togetherness. And perhaps for tonight it is enough. The roar comes no closer. The hyena's laughter shifts direction, chasing some other prey. Slowly the knot loosens, just a little, though sleep will come only in fragments, in uneasy snatches. Above them the stars blaze brighter. The night stretches long, restless and haunted. And yet beneath the thorn trees the band endures fragile, fearful, but still alive. Dawn does not arrive gently. It creeps first as a paling of the stars, a faint grey wash across the horizon. The band stirs restlessly before the first true light nerves still strung tight from the night. Children wake groggy, rubbing eyes, while elders stretch stiff limbs from the cold ground. Every sound, an owl's last call, the distant yelp of hyenas still echoes in memory. Then at last the sun's rim breaks free, flooding the land with pale gold. Relief sweeps through the group. Daylight means visibility, and visibility means a little more safety. They rise, shake dust from their skin, and prepare to move on. But first comes food. Bellies groan again, the zebra's meat already burned away in the night's long vigil. The hunters fan outward searching for anything edible. It is not a feast they expect, but something to push the day forward. Soon a cry of success echoes. One of the women has found a patch of tubers half buried beneath soil near the thorn trees. With stones and sticks they dig them up knobby roots, earthy and starchy. Children crowd close, wrinkling noses at the smell, but hunger sharpens even distaste. The tubers are peeled crudely with flaked stones, then chewed raw. They are tough, fibrous, gritty with dirt, yet they fill stomachs with a weight that steadies. Fat tubers and underground roots were a vital calorie source for early humans, especially before fire allowed easier digestion. Their starch provided slow-burning energy, though chewing them raw was laborious. Quirky tidbit scientists call this type of diet the fallback food, because when hunts failed, people always returned to the ground for safety. You could almost say tubers were the prehistoric equivalent of instant noodles, never glamorous, but always there. The group eats in parallel ways. A youth crunches loudly, exaggerating each bite until the others glare. A child spits out dirt dramatically, then wipes it on a sibling's leg, sparking a quick scuffle. An elder chews, slowly, lost in thought, eyes fixed on the horizon, as if tasting both food and memory. Joke 1. A boy claims the tuber tastes exactly like roasted zebra, then pretends to savour it as if it were luxury, making the others laugh despite the blandness. Joke 2. One girl pretends hers is a flute, blowing into it until juice splatters her chin. Joke 3. A youth declares he's invented a new delicacy, mud fries, earning groans and laughter in equal measure. Once bellies are settled, the band readies to move. The morning air is still cool, carrying promise before the sun grows harsh again. They press onward, footsteps crunching over dry soil, eyes scanning for signs of animals, water or shade. As they walk, conversations ripple through the group. Children chatter about lions in the night, retelling the terror as though it were an adventure. Elders speak softly, reminding them that survival comes from vigilance, not courage alone. The hunters remain silent, scanning grass for tracks, the lessons of yesterday always at the front of their minds. Hours stretch, but the group is steadier now. Energy from tubers fills their limbs, water from the stream still cool in their bellies. The savannah feels less threatening in morning light, though danger is never far. A vulture circles overhead, its shadow cutting briefly across the earth, as if to remind them that weakness invites watchers. Still the morning belongs to them. The thorn trees shrink behind the land ahead, opening wide. Each step is heavy, but each step is also defiance. They survived the night, they ate what the ground gave, and now they march on. The day is only beginning, and already they are reminded survival is not just about great hunts or triumphs. Sometimes it is chewing bitter roots at dawn, clinging to life one mouthful of Earth's hidden gifts at a time. By mid-morning the sun grows harsher, flattening shadows and painting the land in sharp, unforgiving light. The air tastes dry, as though every breath carries grit. The band trudges onward, steps slower now, but alert. Ahead lies a stretch of low rocky ground, stones jutting like broken teeth across the plain. The rocks offer more than obstacles. They hide shade, small cracks where moisture lingers, and sometimes creatures that can be caught. The hunters fan out across the stony rise, eyes sharp for movement. Soon a cry of delight, a lizard darts across the stone's tail, flicking. Quick hands and quicker reflexes corner it, pinning it beneath a stick. It writhes, snapping its tiny jaws, but soon it is caught squirming in human fingers. Children crowd close, wide-eyed. To them the lizard is both toy and meal, curiosity and sustenance. The elders nod, approving every morsel matters. Fat reptiles, such as lizards and tortoises, were important fallback foods for early humans, especially in harsh, dry regions where larger prey was scarce. Their meat was chewy but nutritious, and their shells or skins sometimes even repurposed as tools. Quirky tidbit, some groups of modern hunter-gatherers are so skilled they can pluck a lizard out of its burrow with nothing more than a hooked stick. Imagine explaining that skill at a party. "Oh me, I'm a professional lizard fisherman." The band spreads out farther. Another cry goes up, tortoise. Slowly, patiently, it had been lumbering across the stones, head bobbing. It is lifted easily, its legs flailing in protest. The children laugh, imitating its sluggish movements, until an elder hushes them, reminding all that this is food, not play. Still, a few chuckles slip out as one youth pretends to race the tortoise, dramatically losing on purpose. Joke 1. A child pretends to whisper secrets to the tortoise, then claims it gave wise advice. Joke 2. A boy announces he will ride the lizard into battle, holding it aloft like a tiny steed. Joke 3, someone asks if the tortoise will tell them the future if they rub its shell, sparking giggles. Parallel moments add depth. One elder inspects a crack in the stone, finds only insects and grumbles in disappointment. A youth scrambles onto a boulder, shading eyes, scanning for larger game, but sees only endless grass. A mother breaks a small stone in her hand, its sharp edge glinting, and quietly tucks it away as a tool for later. The lizard is killed quickly with a stone strike, its wriggling stilled. The tortoise takes longer, its shell hard, its body slow. The band works with stones, prying, breaking. The meat inside is divided into strips chewy and tough but filling. The children chew noisily, some pretending it tastes like zebra, others making exaggerated gagging sounds until stern looks silence them. It is not a feast, but together with a few gathered seeds and bitter greens found in cracks, it makes a meal. Teeth grind, bellies settle, strength returns bit by bit. Afterward they linger in the shade of rocks, bodies pressed against cool stone, savouring the relief. A youth sprawls dramatically, declaring he may never walk again until a sibling kicks his foot and he yelps. An elder hums softly, a rhythm that rises and falls like breath, calming the group. When they rise to continue, the land feels a little less endless. The rocky ground gives them a sense of progress, a reminder that even the harshest stretches can yield food if searched with patience. They leave behind lizard bones, tortoise shells, and the echo of laughter. And as the sun climbs higher, they carry forward not just the taste of strange meals, but the quiet certainty that even small victories matter. In a world so vast and unforgiving, survival is often measured in lizards' court, and tortoises cracked open in the stubborn refusal to stop searching where others might see nothing. The sun climbs higher, still pressing down like a weight. The grasses shimmer, heat dancing in waves, blurring distance into a trembling haze. Sweat streaks every brow. Children drag their feet, complaining with whimpers too soft to be punished. The elders keep urging forward, each step a silent mantra: keep moving, keep breathing, keep living. By midday, shade becomes the only treasure worth seeking. The band halts near a stand of acacia trees, their flat tops cutting silhouettes against the blazing sky. Beneath them the air is fractionally cooler, though thorns snag clothes and skin. It is a small mercy, but enough. Hunger gnaws again. The morning's tubers and lizards are fading, leaving stomachs hollow. This time, foragers search the branches overhead, eyes trained for movement. A child squeals bees. A swarm hums faintly around a hollow in the trunk. Adults hush the noise, quickly wary of alerting predators to their paws, but curiosity sparks. Where bees live, honey sometimes waits. Fat honey was one of the earliest concentrated sources of sugar for humans, providing energy far beyond most wild foods. Rock art from thousands of years ago depicts humans climbing to gather it, risking stings for sweetness. Quirky tidbit: modern Hadza foragers in Tanzania still listen for a special bird, the honey guy that literally leads them to hives. It's history's strangest collaboration. Humans get honeybirds, get wax. Imagine explaining that teamwork in a job interview. The band eyes the hive. The hum rises louder, a warning. No tools, no smoke, no clever tricks, just bare skin and determination. Hunger debates pain in every mind. Finally, a daring youth climbs, clutching rough bark, edging toward the hollow. Others watch, half horrified, half thrilled. The climb is slow, tense. Bees swirl angrily, darting wings sharp in sound. The youth winces as stings strike arms and neck, but presses on. With a stone flake he chips into the hollow hand, plunging inside. Sticky gold coats his fingers. He yanks free triumphant honey-dripping bees, furious. The climb down is fast and clumsy, but he lands panting and grinning through welts already swelling. Children rush dipping fingers into the honey. It is thick, golden, impossibly sweet. Their faces light up, sticky smiles spreading. Adults take turns, more restrained, savouring each drop like sacred nectar. Laughter bubbles, rare and pure. Even elders let sweetness linger on their tongues, remembering perhaps that survival is not only endurance but joy. Parallel moments shine. A child smears honey across their face, proudly declaring themselves a bee king, only to be stung again for their trouble. Another scoops too much, drops it in the dust, then tries to eat it anyway, earning groans. An elder sucks honey slowly from fingertips, humming as though tasting sunlight itself. Joke 1, someone declares bees must be angry chefs whose candy has been stolen. Joke 2, a boy says the honey tastes better than roasted zebra, provoking laughter at the callback. Joke 3, another, insists they should carry bees everywhere, a portable snack dispenser, until stares silence him. The group rests, licking fingers, sticky hands wiped against grass. The youth who braved the climb struts proudly, welts swelling like badges of courage. Children poke at his stings, both admiring and teasing. For once, hunger loosens its grip, replaced with the lightness of shared indulgence. But the bees do not forget. The swarm grows agitated, circling closer. An elder claps sharply, urging the group to move. Sticky-handed, sweet-mouthed, still laughing, they gather and continue onward, leaving buzzing chaos behind. As they walk, the taste of honey lingers on their tongues, a golden memory that softens the day's hardship. It is fleeting, rare, but enough to remind them the wild does not only threaten. Sometimes it gives gifts as sweet as the sun itself. The sweetness of honey fades as the afternoon stretches long, replaced once more by thirst. Each breath feels heavier, pulling dust and heat into their lungs. The savannah is merciless under the sun, and the little water carried in gourds is gone. Lips crack, tongues swell slightly, and children whimper. The hunters scan the land, searching not for prey this time, but for water. In this season, rivers run dry, streams vanish into sand, and waterholes shrink into mud. Yet the signs are there if one knows how to read them. Birds circling low, tracks pressed into cracked earth, the scent of dampness hidden beneath dust. One elder crouches, fingers brushing across faint impressions in the soil, the padded prints of antelope pressed deeper than usual, all leading in the same direction. He gestures. The band follows, hearts beating with hope. Their pace quickens despite exhaustion. After some distance, the ground dips into a hollow ringed by thorn bushes. At first it looks barren, just cracked mud and scattered dung. But the elder kneels, presses near to the earth, then begins to dig with steady, practiced hands. Children join scraping with sticks, mothers scooping with shells. Slowly, dark earth moistens, turning from dust to clay to damp. Then at last water seeps upward, filling the small pit with muddy liquid. Relief erupts. They crowd around, cupping hands, sipping greedily. The water is gritty, warm, tinged with soil, but it soothes burning throats. Mothers scoop handfuls into children's mouths who cough, then grin. Hunters drink deeply, then splash faces, sighing with gratitude. Fact, early humans often relied on seeps or dug-out wells in dry seasons, following animal trails to hidden groundwater. Quirky tidbits some desert tribes today still test for water by pressing their ears to the earth, listening for faint gurgles. You might say they were the original human stethoscopes, except the patient was the planet. Parallel moments unfold around the waterhole. A child scoops mud, deliberately smearing it on his chest as armour-drawing laughter. Another plunges face first into the puddle, emerging brown and dripping eyes wide in mock surprise. An elder more serious sips, slowly savouring each drop as though it were sacred wine. Joke 1, a boy claims the water tastes better than honey, prompting groans and eye rolls. Joke 2, someone says the puddle is secretly a crocodile bath, causing half the children to leap back in fear, before realising the jest. Joke 3, another declares he's discovered mud soup and offers it proudly until pushed away. Once thirst is quenched, practicality returns. The hunters know predators also seek water. Lions, leopards and hyenas often stalk near such places. Eyes sharpen, ears strain every rustle in the thorn bushes a warning. Guards are set. The band rests only briefly wary of overstaying in a place that smells strongly of life and death. They refill shells and gourds with the muddy liquid, straining some through handfuls of grass to reduce grit. Children sip from them eagerly, sticky honey still on their lips, now mingled with soil. Their bellies ache slightly from the contrast, but they smile better discomfort than thirst. The sun begins its slow descent, shadows lengthening across the savannah. The group rises stronger, now steps firmer. The waterhole shrinks behind them, claimed again by the earth, and by the animals whose trails led there. For the humans, it is one more proof that survival belongs not to the strongest, but to those who can read the whispers of the land, who dig where others walk past, who find life in the mud of a dying pool. The afternoon light softens the air, cooling just enough to lift the band's spirits. Bellies are no longer hollow throats, no longer raw, yet fatigue drapes itself across shoulders like a heavy cloak. The savannah stretches on, but ahead the land shifts again, less open, dotted now with clusters of shrubs and twisted trees, their branches bending low and tangled. It is the edge of a scrubland, a place thick with hiding places, both comforting and threatening. the hunter's slow gestures sharp and deliberate. This terrain shelters not only shade and berries but also predators crouching unseen. Spears, or rather long sharpened sticks, are readied, gripped tight in calloused hands. Mothers pull children closer. Every footstep is deliberate crunching twigs sounding far louder in their ears than they should. And then a rustle. Low, close, urgent. The shrubs tremble. The hunters freeze eyes, locking on the movement. A shape bursts forth, not lion, not hyena, but smaller wild dogs, mottled coats flashing ears high. They appear first as shadows, then multiply a dozen strong, slipping between bushes with eerie silence. Their eyes glitter, jaws parted in panting grins. The humans and the dogs face one another, both groups predators, both hungry. For a long heartbeat, time halts. The band grips sticks tighter. Children stifling whimpers. The dogs circle tails low but twitching, assessing these upright creatures who dare walk their ground. Fact, wild dogs were among the most efficient hunters of the savannah, with kill rates far higher than lions. Their teamwork rivaled human cooperation, making them both competitor and mirror. Quirky tidbit: some scientists suggest humans may have learned cooperative hunting techniques partly by observing animals like wild dogs. It's almost like the dogs were unwilling tutors teaching strategies while trying to keep their dinners. Parallel reactions spark across the group. One youth whispers that the dog's painted coats look like spirits sending a shiver through siblings. Another braver bangs a stick against a rock, the sharp sound startling both the dogs and some of the younger children. An elder mutters a chant under his breath as though words alone might form a barrier. Joke 1. A boy trying to hide his fear whispers, "At least they're smaller than lions," earning a few nervous chuckles. Joke 2, another says, "Maybe they'll share if we say please," which makes even the tense hunters snort. Joke 3, one child insists the dogs are just big spotted puppies only to be shushed immediately. The standoff continues. The wild dogs edge closer, then retreat, ears flicking. They seem to debate, weighing the strange upright figures against easier prey hidden in the scrub. One bares teeth, another whines, but none lunge. Slowly, with a silent decision, the pack withdraws, melting back into the brush as swiftly as they appeared. The humans exhale in unison. Muscles relax, sticks lower. Children cling to mothers wide-eyed. The hunters remain wary, scanning the brush long after the dogs vanish, knowing the pack may still linger nearby. When the tension fades, whispers ripple through the band. Some speak of spirits in spotted coats, others of rivals who hunt like them but on 4 legs instead of 2. The encounter leaves more than fear, it leaves reflection. To see such unity, such fluid movement in the dogs is to glimpse a power the humans themselves seek. They continue, but the memory of the standoff lingers. The savannah teaches again, survival is not only about what one can take, but about knowing when to face, when to flee, and when to simply endure under the watchful eyes of rivals. As the scrubland thickens and the sun lowers, the band knows the wild has many faces, each demanding respect. Today the wild wore spots and sharp teeth, and for now it has chosen to let them pass. The scrubland stretches wider, its shadows deepening as the sun tilts low. The air smells sharper here, a mix of dust, wildflowers, and animal musk carried by the wind. Every rustle in the brush keeps nerves taut, but hunger soon overrides fear again. The honey and tubers are long digested, the zebra and lizards a fading memory. Now with dusk coming, food must be found, or the night will be endured with empty stomachs. Foragers scatter among the tangled shrubs, searching for signs, bird nests, seeds, small creatures hiding in the undergrowth. A child's sharp eyes spot something. First, a cluster of eggs nestled in a hollow, speckled and still warm from the sun. Excitement ripples through the group. Eggs mean protein nourishment and perhaps even a rare moment of indulgence. They gather quickly, careful not to drop the fragile shells. Fact eggs from ground-nesting birds were a crucial seasonal food for early humans, providing concentrated nutrition and easily digestible protein. Quirky tidbit: some researchers believe even ostrich eggs were prized not only for food, but for their shells, which could be turned into water containers or beads. Imagine carrying your drink in a giant prehistoric smoothie cup. As the eggs are collected, small dramas play out. One child pretends to balance an egg on their head like a crown, only to drop it yolk splattering across dusty toes. Groans and laughter follow. Another insists they hear a chick inside holding the egg to their ear as if it might whisper secrets. An elder swats gently muttering that food is food, not conversation. Joke 1, someone claims the egg tastes exactly like zebra marrow, prompting laughter at the ongoing gag. Joke 2, a boy says if he eats too many he'll start laying eggs himself, making the children shriek with giggles. Joke 3, another suggests they save one egg to throw at the next lion, which even the hunters can't help but grin at. Parallel moments deepen the scene. A youth cracks an egg too forcefully, spilling it into the dust, then sheepishly scoops what remains with cupped hands. A mother carefully divides one between her children, making sure no drop is wasted. An elder rolls a shell fragment between fingers' eyes, narrowing with thought, already imagining it as a container. The eggs are eaten raw, thick and slippery, with flavours ranging from bland to pungent. Children grimace, wiping mouths with the backs of their hands, while others gulp quickly, determined to gain strength. The yolk coats tongues, leaving both disgust and satisfaction. As twilight deepens, they find more berries hidden beneath thorny shrubs. Small sour, some nearly bitter but edible. Foragers pluck them quickly, pricking fingers on thorns, sucking at tiny drops of sweetness. Children pop them into mouths like treasures spitting seeds with loud, fast noises, daring one another to spit the farthest. They do not gather enough for fullness, but enough to quiet the worst of hunger. Egg yolk, berry juice, dust, and laughter mingle on tongues, a strange meal by modern taste, but in this world a blessing. When the light fades further, the band retreats to a denser patch of shrubs. Branches form a crude wall, thorns keeping larger animals at bay. Children nestle between mothers and elders, while hunters sit outward facing sticks across their knees. The sky glows orange, then purple, then finally deep blue. Stars emerge one by one, their brilliance mirrored in wide eyes. The land quiets, save for the call of night creatures, insects, churring owls, hooting predators, growling faint in the distance. The band huddles close, bellies not full but not empty hearts, steady after the day's small victories. Tonight the wild will watch them again, as it always does. But they have eggs in their bellies, berries on their tongues, and laughter lingering in the air. It is enough. Darkness settles fully now, a velvet sheet pricked by countless stars. The scrubland holds its breath, then exhales as night creatures claim the world. Crickets thrum in steady rhythm, owls swoop with whispers of wings, and in the distance a hyena whoops eerie and mocking. The humans huddle tighter, the fireless night pressing in from every side. Without flames, every shadow feels alive. Children cling to mothers' small hands, tangled in rough hair or clutching arms. Hunters sit awake, eyes straining, ears twitching at every rustle. A stick snaps somewhere in the dark, too heavy to be mere wind. Silence falls across the band, like a spell broken only by shallow breathing. Out of the brush, glowing eyes appear amber dots reflecting starlight. A low growl follows, deep and guttural, vibrating through the chest. Lions. Not many, but enough. The hunters grip their sharpened sticks, knuckles pale. They cannot fight lions in darkness. Even the bravest know this. But they can try to seem larger, louder, more dangerous than they are. The group rises together, a ragged circle. Adults clap hands, stomp feet, and shout, voices cracking but fierce. The sound swells, surprising even them. Children cry, but their cries blend into the chaos. For a moment the lions pause, heads tilting, ears flicking. Fact, early humans were not apex predators. They were prey for millennia, often scavenging rather than hunting. Only later did tools, fire, and group strategies tip the balance. Quirky tidbits some anthropologists think our instinct to gather around campfires and tell stories stems from nights exactly like this, when noise and unity were the only defense against prowling predators. You might say bedtime stories began as survival tactics with better acoustics. The lions prowl closer, muscles rippling in moonlight. One crouches, low tail twitching. The hunters raise sticks higher, shouting louder, stamping hard enough to shake dust. An elder lets out a cry that cracks the night, half scream, half chant, a sound meant to channel ancestors. Parallel moments spark across the circle. A child squeezes eyes shut, whispering to an unseen spirit. A youth swings a stick wildly, striking only air but feeling braver for it. One mother rocks her infant, singing softly, even as her voice trembles, hoping to soothe the child, or perhaps herself. Joke 1, a boy desperate to break the fear, whispers, "Maybe they're just big cats wanting milk," earning a few muffled chuckles. Joke 2, another mutters, "At least they're not bees," recalling the earlier stings, and even one hunter huffs a laugh. Joke 3, a youth claims he could ride a lion if it lets him, which earns a smack from an elder. The standoff stretches long, a battle of wills beneath the stars. Finally, perhaps deciding these upright creatures are too noisy, too strange, or simply not worth the trouble, the lions back away. Slowly eyes vanish into the brush, growls fading into silence. The humans do not relax at once. They stand rigid, hearts pounding, waiting, until even the insects resume their rhythm. Then slowly the circle dissolves. Mothers soothe children. Hunters lower sticks, shoulders sagging in exhaustion. A collective sigh drifts upward, carried away by the night breeze. They settle once more into their makeshift shelter. Fear lingers, but so does triumph. They stood together and the lions withdrew. It is not victory in battle, but survival by unity, and that is enough. Sleep comes in fits restless, and light ears still tuned for growls. Above them the stars shine indifferent ancient witnesses to this fragile struggle between predator and prey. Tonight, the humans endure. Dawn creeps slowly, brushing pale gold across the scrubland. The band stirs from uneasy rest bodies, stiff eyes shadowed from broken sleep. The memory of lions lingers heavy as dew clinging to grass, yet with morning comes safety, or at least the fragile illusion of it. The predators retreat to shade and the humans rise, stretching weary limbs, determined to move before the sun blazes again. They begin with quiet tasks. Mothers soothe children, wiping dust from faces, checking bites and scratches. Foragers pluck at thorny shrubs, gathering what little berries remain. Hunters confer in low voices, scanning tracks left in the dirt from the night before. Paw prints pressed deep claw marks, scoring soil, the faint trail of an antelope herd passing near. Hunger gnaws. The eggs and berries are long gone. The band sets off following the faint hope of prey. They move silently through the scrub, each crunch of twig or rustle of grass measured. Ahead, the land opens slightly, revealing prints that loop and overlap hooves, many hooves. An antelope herd passed not long ago. Fact, early humans were skilled persistence hunters, not because of speed, but endurance. By chasing prey under the hot sun, they could exhaust animals that sprinted fast but tired quickly. Quirky tidbits, some researchers believe persistence hunting might be the reason humans evolved to sweat so effectively. Imagine explaining to a gazelle, "Sorry you sprint fast, but I come with built-in air conditioning." The hunters break into a trot, eyes fixed on the trail. Children and elders remain behind in the shade of shrubs, guarded by two women armed with sticks. The chase begins. At first, the herd is distant shadows flickering between tall grasses. The hunters push onward step after step, steady and relentless. They do not need to catch immediately, they need only to keep the animals moving, keep them from resting, until exhaustion turns swift legs into stumbling hooves. Parallel moments unfold. One hunter whistles sharply, startling the herd to run farther. Another splashes dust across his face, cooling sweat. A third clutches his side lungs burning but forces feet forward, driven by the vision of meat roasting, marrow-filling bones, bellies swelling with true nourishment. Joke one between breaths. A youth gasps. "If I die, tell them it was from too much running." Joke two, another pants. "The zebra was easier, it didn't expect us to be crazy." Joke three, one mutters, "I thought hunting meant catching, not becoming the gazelle's shadow," and even in exhaustion they laugh. The chase stretches through the morning. Dust rises, shimmering in the heat. The antelopes grow ragged, their strides less graceful, tongues lolling foam at their mouths. The hunters close distant, sticks raised. One slips crashing into the dirt, but the others surge forward, shouting, corralling the animals. Finally, one antelope falters. Its legs buckle, chest heaving. The hunters pounce. Sticks strike hands, grab, and after a violent struggle the creature stills. Silence follows, broken only by gasping breaths and the pounding of hearts. Triumph surges. The hunters raise voices, calling to those left behind. Soon the others arrive, eyes widening at the sight. Children dance, elders lift hands in gratitude, mothers sigh in relief. The kill is butchered with stone flakes, meat sliced into strips, fat and organs shared immediately. Bloodcoats, fingers and faces warm and metallic, but hunger drowns hesitation. Bellies fill, strength returns. Bones are cracked, for marrow slurped greedily, laughter echoing across the scrubland. For this day at least they are not prey, they are hunters victorious alive. The taste of meat lingers on their tongues long after the last scraps are swallowed. Grease shines on chins, marrow glistens on lips, and bellies bulge with the rare fullness of true feast. For once, the gnawing ache of hunger is silenced. Children slump, dreamy-eyed, too heavy to chatter. Elders lean back, sighing with a contentment that is almost sacred. But the day is not done. The carcass remains, bones, scraps, hide, and with it danger. The smell of blood drifts across the scrubland like an unspoken invitation. Every predator within miles can follow that scent. The hunters know they cannot linger long. Already vultures circle above their dark wings, cutting slow spirals into the sky. Fact scavengers were constant companions to early humans. Lions, hyenas, jackals, even massive vultures trailed them ready to steal whatever they left behind. Quirky tidbits, sometimes humans were the scavengers themselves waiting for predators to leave scraps behind. In a way, the whole savannah was a buffet line, and the order of who ate first depended on fangs, claws, or cleverness. The band works quickly. Hunters strip long bones for tools, scraping with flakes. Women peel the hide in ragged sheets tough but usable as wraps or mats. Children gather discarded sinews, giggling as they stretch them like strings. Nothing is wasted. Every part is claimed transformed, imagined into use. Parallel dramas unfold. One child clutches a rib bone like a sword, swinging wildly until an elder snatches it away. Another dips fingers into congealed blood, smearing war paint streaks across their cheeks, strutting proudly until laughter follows. A mother scolds her son for gnawing a bone so loudly that it echoes only for others to imitate him in mock chorus. Joke 1, a boy declares the vultures overhead are just impatient dinner guests earning weary chuckles. Joke 2, another says hyenas probably keep a reservation list, sending a ripple of laughter. Joke 3, one elder mutters that the lions will demand leftovers with interest, which even the hunters find grimly funny. The group moves swiftly now, leaving nothing behind but scattered bloodstains. They sling meat strips over shoulders, clutching hides and bones, carrying wealth of a kind no coin could match. The path away is slow but steady, a procession of survival in motion. But the wild watches. From behind the shrubs, eyes glimmer. Hyenas trail their yips, echoing faint across the land. The hunters glance back, grips tightening on sticks, knowing the scavengers will follow until darkness. Predators are never far when meat is near. They press on, determined to put distance between themselves and the kill site. The scrubland thins into grassland again, open, vulnerable, but offering sightlines. The vultures wheel above, patient. The hyenas lope behind, tireless. The humans march between them, carriers of flesh, defenders of life. As the sun lowers, shadows stretch long across the earth. The band halts finally in a small depression ringed by thorny shrubs. Here they rest, here they dare to breathe. Meat is shared again, smaller bites, now reserved, knowing it must last. The children suck on bones until they are pale, hollow clattering when dropped onto stone. For this evening, survival feels less like desperation and more like victory. They have hunted, eaten, carried, endured. The night will bring new dangers, but for now the sweetness of marrow and the heaviness of full bellies remind them the wild can be beaten if only for a day. Night falls once more, spreading a vast indigo cloak across the sky. Stars burn like scattered embers, and the moon rises pale and cold. The band settles within their thorny refuge bellies, still heavy from the feast, yet nerves prickling at every sound. Meat fills them with strength, but also paints them with danger. The scent of blood clings to their skin, to the hides, slung around shoulders, to the marrow-smeared bones that even now lie beside them. Hyenas howl nearby, long mocking calls that rise and fall like laughter. Closer still, a yipping chorus answers, circling, closing in. The band stiffens. Children whimper, mothers hush them. Hunters lift sticks once more. They have faced lions, endured thirst, survived the sun, but now the night tests them again with relentless persistence. Fact hyenas are not just scavengers, but formidable hunters capable of chasing prey for miles. Their jaws are among the strongest in the animal kingdom, crushing bones with ease. Quirky tidbit, ancient people sometimes feared hyenas as shapeshifters, believing they could imitate human voices to lure victims. Imagine that, walking in the dark and hearing your friend call, only to realize it's a hyena prank caller. The glowing eyes appear first many pairs, bobbing low against the grass. Shadows slink closer, bodies striped or spotted muscles rippling in the moonlight. The hyenas spread out, forming a ragged circle, their cackles piercing the night like cruel jokes. The humans respond the only way they can together. Hunters leap to their feet, stamping and shouting, raising their sticks high. Elders join, voices cracked but loud, a chorus of defiance. Mothers bang bones against rocks, the clatter sharp and jarring. Even children add their screams shrill and wild. Parallel moments flare within the chaos. A boy waves a hide like a banner shouting that he's scarier than the hyenas. Another throws a marrow bone which the animals pounce on instantly, tugging and growling, giving the humans a heartbeat of relief. An elder, eyes blazing, stamps so fiercely that dust clouds rise around him, his small body suddenly vast in spirit. Joke 1, someone yells. They only want the leftovers, tell them to wait their turn, earning nervous giggles. Joke 2, another mutters. At least they won't sting like bees, causing a ripple of grim laughter. Joke 3, a boy whispers. Maybe they'll laugh themselves to death, which despite the tension makes a few smile. The standoff teeters. Hyenas dart forward, testing snapping jaws at the air, then leap back cackling. The humans shout louder, strike the ground with sticks, hurl stones that clatter in the dark. Each clash of sound pushes the predators back, but only barely. Hunger gnaws at both sides, theirs and the hyenas. Finally, as if deciding this prey is too fierce, too noisy, too unified, the hyenas melt away into the shadows. Their laughter fades into distance, leaving only the drumming of human hearts and the weight of silence after chaos. Exhaustion hits suddenly like a wave. The band sinks back into place, chests, heaving eyes, darting long after the eyes have gone. Mothers cradle children tight. Hunters sit rigid, unwilling to sleep, ears tuned to every faint cry in the distance. Fact sinks in with quiet clarity. Tonight's survival was not about strength, but noise, unity, and a refusal to surrender. The thorny ring is no fortress, but their voices together formed a wall stronger than any stone. The night deepens. Stars wheel overhead, silent witnesses. Hyenas may return, lions may stalk, but for now the band remains whole alive, still together. That is victory enough beneath the endless sky. Morning breaks slow and gentle, the sky bleeding from indigo to pink. The band stirs from fractured sleep, groggy yet grateful. The air is cooler, touched by dew, and for the first time in many nights their bellies are not empty. The scent of roasted meat lingers on hides. The memory of marrow fills them with strength. They rise, sore but whole, and look out at the savannah with tired eyes that nonetheless gleam with determination. They survived, again. Children chase each other between thorny shrubs, giggling despite weariness. Elders stretch bones that creak like dry wood but smile at the sound of laughter. Hunters glance at the horizon, always scanning, always wary, but pride simmers beneath their guarded expressions. They have faced lions in the night, hyenas that tested their courage, thirst that cracked their lips, hunger that burned their bellies. Yet here they stand, scarred but unbroken. Fact anthropologists believe it was precisely these hardships, scarcity, danger, relentless struggle that shaped human cooperation. Alone, each figure on the savannah was fragile. Together they were something more, something durable. Quirky tidbits some tribes even today carry echoes of this ancient bond, using group chanting or clapping to drive off animals, the same primal tactic echoing from tens of thousands of years ago. Parallel moments unfold as the group prepares to move once more. A young boy sharpens a stick, pretending he is the bravest hunter alive. A girl braids sinew into her hair, laughing at her reflection in a pool. A mother hums a tune, soothing her baby, while remembering the cries of the night before. An elder sits cross-legged, tracing lines in the dirt, perhaps maps of memory, perhaps just idle patterns. Joke 1, a hunter mutters. If the lions come again, we'll just tell them we're closed for business, and laughter ripples through the group. Joke 2, one elder says, I'm too old for running, so I'll scare them by dancing, stomping his feet until children roar with delight. Joke 3, a boy whispers. Maybe the hyenas quit, they couldn't handle the noise, making even weary hunters chuckle. The sun climbs higher. The group gathers belongings, hides bones, scraps of meat, and begins the slow march across the endless grass. Each footstep leaves faint imprints in dust. Each shadow lengthens with the rising day. Their journey is far from over. Droughts will come again, predators will return, hunger will gnaw. But the memory of unity, of standing against teeth and claw, will remain etched in their shared spirit. For these earliest humans, survival is not about conquering the wild, but enduring it one step, one night, one dawn at a time. Now the story softens like the glow of embers fading after a long fire. The voices of the hunters and mothers grow quiet, replaced by the hush of wind moving gently through tall grasses. The sky is no longer sharp with fear, but wide and forgiving, stretched in soft strokes of blue. Imagine the band walking slowly, each figure shrinking against the immensity of the savannah. Their journey is not finished, but the pace now feels less urgent, more like a steady rhythm that lulls rather than alarms. Each step is a whisper, each breath a calm reminder that life continues forward. The dangers of the night drift further away like echoes fading into silence. The lions, the hyenas, the long chase through dust, they are now only memories. What remains is the warmth of togetherness, the strength of voices lifted in unison, the quiet resilience that flows through every heartbeat. Let the image settle the sky, stretching overhead stars, retreating sun rising with soft light, the humans small but steady beneath it. They walk as one, and in their togetherness lies their safety. You can almost hear their footsteps blending into your own breathing, slow, even calm. So as your eyes grow heavy, let the struggles of this tale dissolve. The wild is distant now, its dangers far away. All that remains is the gentle comfort of survival, of rest earned after trial. The earliest humans walked on, and so too do your thoughts drift step by step into the soft hush of sleep. Sweet dreams.